Hello. We're talking about student loan forgiveness and cancellation today for all those borrowers out there that has been wondering what's going on and how it's going to impact your student loans. This is a broadcast you want to tune into today. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shantae Alrighty. If you're new here, as always, let me know who you are, where you're hailing from, what your business is in the comments. If you are a student loan borrower, let me know in the comments as well. I will be clearing up a lot of misinformation and providing clarification to some questions that I've seen across the board via my various posts related to what is happening under the Biden administration, because we know that Biden ran on student loan forgiveness. That was one of his key agenda items. So again, if you're a student loan borrower, if you know a student loan borrower, tag them in this video, share this video with them, because this is important information. So you know what to expect. I expect to have a special guest on today. Her name is Kay Dean Grant. She has she's in a meeting, but she may be joining during the broadcast. She had a video that went viral. I love the video. And then I reached out to her. She actually had over $127,000 in student loan debt canceled. You hear what I'm saying? Canceled. So she doesn't have to pay it back. It's zero balance. And I'm so excited for her. And I definitely want her to be able to share her story because there are so many student loan borrowers that are in her same position that will be getting student loan cancellation. So there's a number of different programs that I'm going to be discussing today. You let me know which one you fall under, right? There are many different programs, and the Biden administration and the Department of Education have been making sweeping changes to the student loan program and borrower programs and forgiveness programs and other programs across the board that is really going to have an impact on your ability to get forgiveness or cancellation. They're the same thing. That means that you don't have any longer have to pay back your student loans, whether it's going to be automatic. And for a lot of you all, it is going to be automatic forgiving. You're going to wake up one day, you're going to get a notice from your student loan servicer, and you're going to have a zero balance just like she did, right? And I'm speaking for myself because I know that it's coming down the line. So let me just give you some background information on regarding everything that has been happening since COVID. So we know that during COVID, one of the biggest programs that was launched is the pause on student loans, right? Paying back student loans. It has been on pause for over 2 years now. And the pause was extended even further until the end of August 2022. But don't just think it's on pause and nothing is happening. There are things that are happening within the program, but the pause is significant because the pause includes any payments and interest on these student loans that you haven't had to pay for the last 2 years. Now, anybody that was in default, right? All of that, any withholding of monies that you would otherwise not be entitled to was canceled, right? So it did not impact your ability to get access to other stimulus programs, which it normally would. So that program has been significant, but there has been work underway even while they continue to extend, while they work on how they're going to approach the student loan forgiveness as a whole. And there's been a big call for sweeping student loan cancellations. There have been calls for, forgiving $50,000 for every borrower. I know Biden's mentioned he would possibly be open to $10,000. But he is supposed to be making an announcement soon on what his approach is going to be. Know that for there to be any sweeping changes, there has to be a consensus in Congress to agree and pass bills that say they're going to do this just automatically do it. The president has limitations, but even with those limitations, there's a lot that he can do, and there is a lot that he is doing. Okay. So believe me, trust me on that. But know that Congress plays a role in this as well. And there's many members of Congress that want student loan forgiveness, and there's some that do not, right? And then there was a recent call by some state attorney generals for forgiveness as well. Biden also had reached out, had some research being done to see what exactly he can do through executive orders, right? So you could do something with executive orders and then you get lawsuits and all these kind of things. So he's trying to figure out what is the best approach to this, that he can do it under executive order. And again, one of the biggest thing is the sweeping changes to many of the student loan programs that I'm going to get into today. So before I get into it, I'm going to bring on Coach Kay Dean. She did make it on here. Hi, Kay Dean.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? I'm glad you were able to make it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad that you are here. So I'm just getting started trying to lay the groundwork for all these student loan borrowers on all the programs that are out there and how they're going to be able to get student loan forgiveness. So I was just laying that groundwork. So I'm glad you came in at this time because I told them about you. They've been ready for you to come on. So this is Kay Dean, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about yourself, but I want to tell them how I met you. Okay. So I was up late or whatever. And then I opened up TikTok, and she had a video that went viral. I didn't know it went viral. I just knew that she was praise dancing. She had her tambourine, and it said student loan forgiveness. Her student loan was paid off, and the balance was zero. I don't know about you all, but that's enough to have me dancing and shouting, because I know when mine are forgiven, I'm gonna be doing the same thing. Yes. So I was super excited for her, and I reached out to her and asked if she would be willing to share her story, and she said yes, she would. So I am going to let her I'm going to give it over to her really quickly. Let her just introduce herself, tell us who you are, what you do, and let's start talking about how you came to make that video, what happened with the student loan forgiveness. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm Katie Grant. I go by the name Coach K Beautiful. I am a spiritual life coach, motivational speaker, author, podcast host of Thy Queendom Come podcast. So it's crazy because, when you have your own business, you can't wait to go viral. I didn't know I was going to go viral for something personal in my life, something that was a real heavy burden as student loan debt, as we all know. So I would say maybe around December or January, I saw a news article about Naviance. Now, usually when I see Naviance, I just do a big eye roll because there's nothing you can really do about it. Sometimes I saw so many people comments like, oh, maybe I should open the mail. I think we've all been there where it's just kind of like you put it on the side because it's so overwhelming. You don't even know what to do about student loans. But the article that I saw said that Naviance was being sued big time for predatory subprime loans, private loans particularly, and their federal loans to students with low credit scores. So it was kind of like, just like with that 2008 mortgages, when all those banks got in trouble, it was like Naviance was getting in trouble. And it had all this criteria. And as I started reading the criteria, I was like, oh my God, I actually fit a lot of these check marks. And I'll definitely go over those a little later. But so I was like, Lord, I'm about to pray. I've never spiritually fasted a day in my life. I'm about to fast for a whole month. I'm going to pray that out of those 66,000 people, out of the millions, but 66,000 people qualify for this cancellation, I'm going to pray. Girl, I was checking the mail every day since January. And last Friday, the Friday before, I go to the mail and I see, Kadeen and my maiden name So I'm like, this gotta be student loans. They the only ones that still call you by your government, right? I opened it up, and immediately, I can't tell you the roller coaster of emotions, tears, laughing, crying, praise dancing. So I called my mom. She's screaming and praying. I called all my family. Everyone was so excited. And then the next morning, I was like, I'm about to do a video because I promised God I would do the praise dance of all praise dances. And usually when something good happens, my friends know I bust out my tambourine real quick. So I just literally recorded myself dancing in the house, dancing outside, dancing out the driveway because I needed to put a praise on it for real. And my private loans, after I calculated it, racked up to over $127,000. And that's mainly from interest, as we know. And I was debating, like, should I put this amount? This is something that even my close friends don't know how much I owe. And I think by actually putting that amount, that's what made it go. So many people engaged because people was dropping like, yeah, I got 90,000. I got that amount too. And I've always said as a life coach, your story doesn't belong to you. You have to share your story because by sharing your story, someone's deliverance is directly attached to that. So I'm glad I was brave enough to put that number there so that people can really relate to it as well.
Yes. And audience, I want to ask you, are you brave enough to put your amount down? Like I see some of you are out there, they're putting your student loan amounts down there. Put them down there, right? Put them down there in the comments exactly how much that you owe, and claim that you're going to get student loan forgiveness or cancellation because it's definitely possible. It's definitely happening across the board. So you want to let them know how much your student debt total was.
It was over 127. I got a screenshot of the calculator because I suck at math. I had to add all of them up. But a prime example is one loan started at 13,000. By the end, it was 35,000. Like, that's how much interest, and it was only 4 loans total. That's how much interest it added up to. So yeah, I put that amount on that video, and so many people. Girl, and I posted it to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Facebook and nothing but friends and family. That got like 200 views. Instagram is where I'm trying to focus to get more. That got a few hundred. I never looked in TikTok because that only gets a few hundred too. Girl, Monday morning I opened it. It had over 120,000 views. Within a few days, it was up to 330,000 views. I'm like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. And I'm just like, thank you, Lord.
That is so awesome. We just never know what part of our story that we're going to share that's going to resonate with others. And I tell my community that all the time. You got to put yourself out there. You got to share your story, whatever that is. Like other people are going through things, and they often, because they don't see it anyone else, they're like, well, this is only happening to me. Like how, but it's happening to other people, right? It's so many of us that have student loan debt. Like, I can speak for myself. Like, student loan debt is the last debt that I actually have, and I'm hopeful that it will be forgiven, and I know that it will. And I'll be explaining my situation and situations of many others, and how this going to happen. Is going to happen automatically. I just want to go back to the program that she talked about. This is just one of them. For those that don't know, that the federal government sued Naviance. Okay, sued Naviance. Oh, the states did. They all came together.
Generals.
Yeah, and sued Naviance. Okay, so they settled. Naviance settled. Okay, and then the states are going to get their one-time payment, and then the 66,000 borrowers. So you may be one of them. If you got your letter, put it in the comments. Let's celebrate everybody that got their student loan forgiven or canceled. Let's celebrate them. But that's what happened. So Naviance didn't admit any fault. Like, you can Google right now. I actually have the link to Naviance press release. So once this all happened, they settled. The official press releases came out from the states, came out from Naviance to say what the settlement was going to be. And like she said, these these private student loans, right? So there's federal student loans and there's private student loans, and a big majority that were covered in this are the private student loans. But there is also a benefit to those with federal student loans. So you definitely want to go and check that out for any actions that you may need to take. And really, there was no actions that you needed to take to be able to get forgiveness. It was just settled in the settlement. It was done.
Yep.
It's just you were counted in that number, right?
Yeah, it's two separate ones. So there's $1.85 billion was the settlement. So for all the federal borrowers, they're going to divide that by all of us, and it equals a check for $260.
Yeah.
It doesn't really put a dent in the damage, but that's for federal, and we're hoping that Uncle Joe Biden will do the rest. But for the private, there was really strict criteria for it. Do you want me to go over some of that criteria?
You can.
Okay. Awesome. So I did make explanation videos trying to help people as much as possible. There are 11 states that are not included, and it's easier to read those 11 states than run down the 39. So not included is Idaho, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. Their attorney generals did not join the lawsuit. So if you are in any of the other states that was just not mentioned, your attorney general sued Naviance. And you had to have loans between the years of 2002 and 2014. And you had to have 7 consecutive months of past due status or delinquent status. So if on your credit score, if you go back to the life of your loan, if you have 7 consecutive, maybe that 1 year you wasn't working, maybe whatever it may be, maybe it's the life of the loan, you've never been able to make payments. But if you have 7 consecutive months and you live in those states, you qualify. And there's one more criteria, which is something added on. They happen to have a whole list of schools, because what Naviance and Sally Mae did is they were in cahoots with schools to be predatory on students as well. And it's just not Naviance and Sally Mae, it's other little banks included with that. So I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia. After that, I also went to the University of Phoenix trying to finish my degree. And those 2 schools were listed on all of the art institutes, University of Phoenix, Lincoln Tech, different schools like that are all on that list as well. So it's strict criteria, but they kind of opened it up to include other people as well, because they really were prying on us. And what happened was, your phone was blowing up. They wanted you to pay, and they forced us into like forbearance rather than explaining income-driven repayments and things like that. And that is what that lawsuit was about. They should have put us in programs where it would have been very low payments for us. Instead, I think it was maybe 2009 for me when I started getting a lot of calls, and they were like, my payments would be $800 a month. I remember at the time I was working at a bank for $11 an hour. There was like no way I can ever pay that amount. And so, of course, I had late and past due delinquent payments, and that's how I was able to qualify.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations to you. And we know a lot of student loan borrowers that are in that same position. And so that's a lead into the income driven plans that many borrowers are not familiar with. And that's one of the problems and part of the sweeping changes that the Department of Education is making. Due to some of the issues with the program and them not putting it out there, letting borrowers know that this program is available for you to help lower those payments. But before I get into that, let me just walk through some of the other forgiveness programs that they're already in play. Forgiveness is already, or cancellation has already been done and continues to be rolled out. So more than $17 billion in student loan debt has already been canceled since January of 2021 for 725,000 borrowers. Okay. And many more are closer to student loan forgiveness. I'm going to be talking about the Fresh Start program for those that are currently in default in just a second. But let me break that down. So 6.8 billion has been forgiven for public student loan forgiveness program. These are for public service workers who again, your loan should have been canceled, should have been forgiven, and then they were not processing them correctly. So they did automatic forgiveness. 7.8 billion for 400,000 borrowers through the total and permanent disability discharge. They were making it difficult for permanently disabled to get their student loans forgiven. So guess what? Automatic forgiven, sweeping changes to the program. Like come on. Like, I'm so glad that and I think this is needed across the board with auditing. If they have an audit program in place to make sure that the programs are operating the way they should be operating, we would have less of these issues. So that is what's taking place right now. $1.2 billion for borrowers who attended ITT Tech before it closed. Now, I personally know borrowers that got their student loans canceled that attended ITT Tech. So if you're one of those and yours has been canceled, let us know. $2 billion for 105,000 borrowers who were defrauded by their schools. And there is a specific program for that as well. So under the defense claim, so what you do, and for those asking where links are, they're in the video. They're in the description, in the show notes. You will find the links there. And also I will have ask Dean to share that information you shared here also in the comments after the broadcast, so you can see it, and we'll put the links to the press release there as well. But the defense claims is one of the ways that you can get student loan forgiveness if you feel like, if you were part of a school that you felt like you were defrauded in any way, or they did not meet their obligation, or what they say they overpromised. So there's specific guidelines regarding defense claims, but what you should do if you feel that you may meet the qualification, go to the link in the show notes that says defense claim, review the information, the criteria, and you can apply through there. And if you meet the qualifications, you can then have your student loans forgiven, right? So just like schools that Dean attended, again, you want to look at the certain criteria, and if they follow through with what they said they were going to do. Like some of these schools like overpromise. You come to our school, and then when you leave, you'll be making $100,000 a year, and you left the school. Or they'll say you'll be promised a job, right? You'll be
career placement.
Or career placement, and that never happened. If that happened to you, go pursue the defense claim, okay? And again, for some of you all, you won't even have to do it because it's just automatically been forgiven. But they put this process in place to help you all that were subjected to that to be able to get your student loans forgiven. Now, is this the first time you're hearing about defense claims, or have you heard about this before?
I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, so millions have not heard about it. So definitely, yeah. You need to know that, schools cannot get away with doing this. And I'm so glad that action is just now being taken for this. So it just says, again, if your school was misled or engaged in misconduct in violation of certain state laws, you may be eligible for what they call a borrower defense to loan repayment and have some or all of your loan discharged. So that's why I use these different terms, because bottom line, it all means the same, is that you won't have to pay your student loans, right? And so these student loan dings on your credit will come off, right? So
in 30 days, that's my next praise dance I'm waiting for.
Exactly.
Said in 30 days it will be deleted from your credit score, and I'm like, Lord, I could buy a house. Just come on.
That's awesome. Now, when before your student loan got canceled, was your student loan in default?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about defaults real quick, because I put a post out, I think about 2 weeks ago. letting my community know about the new program under the Biden administration called the Fresh Start program. And some people got it and some people didn't. Okay. When I said that 7.5 billion of you all that are in default, if you're in default, let me know in the comments of your student loans. A lot of millions are. But the 7.5 million of you all that are about to get a total reset. It's called the Fresh Start program. And so some were like, well, what is that? What is that? If I have to still pay this loan back? Let me tell you, everything has stages. It's a process. Yeah. Understand the process. This is a step in the direction of student loan forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Not only that, by getting a reset of your default, that impacts your credit, right? It's reset. It's coming off your credit report. And what happens when these negative items on your credit report come off? I mean, I know you all know your credit score goes up, then you qualify for more opportunities, right? That you've been locked out of. And some of you all, the only negative is your student loan.
My whole adult life. Okay. On my credit.
So to have that wiped out, you should be praise dancing on the fact that is going to be wiped off of your credit report. But not only that, okay? It's going to then qualify you for the income-driven payment plans that are available for student loan borrowers that many of these servicers has not informed you all about, okay? So then once you qualify for these programs, again, it's going to help lower your payments. So I understand the interest in what she said. Like most of these my student loan, okay, it's mostly interest, okay? Now I'm on an income-based, I'm on an income-driven plan. I've been on it for years and I can't remember. But I did the calculation the other day, KD, and I've been paying on my student loans or in a program for 25 years. It doesn't even seem like that. It doesn't seem like I graduated undergrad that many years ago. It really does not. But in that course, like once I graduated, I was either in deferment, forbearance, or in an income-driven plan. Now, I have never defaulted on a student loan because I've been in an income-driven plan. Now, as being under an income-driven plan, my payments have always been zero. Now, before I got on the income-driven plan, I was paying, but I believe I was paying $88 a month, something like that, and it was very reasonable. But then I got on the income-driven plan, and then since I've been on that plan for these many years, it's been at zero. Okay. $0 that I pay every month. Then COVID hit. Then we went into the moratorium. That also impacted me. So I do not have to pay even that $88, right? So even being on income-driven plan, it may fluctuate because it's income-driven. And they have like 3 or 4 different plans that you can get under that will significantly reduce the amount that you have to pay. But yes, the interest is there. But here's the other good news, okay? How many of us, including me, my expectation is that I'm going to wake up one of these days, either in 2022 or 2023, and my loan will be automatically forgiven, okay? Even with this income-driven plan that has been in existence for many, many years now, they still have not been handling it correctly. When I say them, the Department of Education not properly overseeing the process, okay? And the servicers for not tracking the process, okay? So even if I'm on the income-driven plan that says, depending on which one you're on, after being in the program for 20 or 25 years, my loan, the rest of it is automatically canceled. But if they're not tracking my years, then it never gets forgiven. I'm out here like, okay, I'm still on this, on this plan. The interest is still accruing. What's happening? Am I going to be 70 by the time this thing is paid off or before I get forgiven? How are you going to get proper forgiveness if you are not tracking servicers? So what I said, the Biden administration has worked in conjunction with the Department of Education because the Department of Education wasn't doing their job. And they are making sweeping changes across the board to this program as well. So what does that mean? They're going to also give us credit on our time. Credit on our time.
Listen,
credit even when you were not even on the program. Okay. Credit for now. This is for federal student loans. Let me just make that caveat here. We're still waiting for other programs on the private student loans. Stay tuned for that. I know this is for federal student loans. Okay. So they're making sweeping changes, meaning that they're going back and giving you credit for payments made when you were not on the plan before you got approved, credit for when you were under deferment, credit for when you were under forbearance, because what the servicers were doing is instead of putting you on the income-driven plan, they were forcing you into forbearance or deferment. That does not count towards your time to get forgiveness. So guess what? They said, okay, we're gonna do sweeping changes. We're gonna make this one time. We're gonna do these credits. So now they are mandating that the servicers recalculate, and they have to put in mechanisms. So going forward, them and the Department of Education, so that your counts are clear. You can see them and everybody can see them. The Department of Education. So the Department of Education website, when you log in as a borrower, you can see your counts towards your 20 and 25 years. Okay. So this includes public service workers whose loans should have been forgiven long time ago, and they have not been keeping record of your counts. Like, what? Right? So you mean my loan could have been forgiven 5 years ago? But because they're not keeping the count, it's not. But they have solved that problem. Now, how long is it going to take? I don't know, right? Because you have to look at, and how far they're going to go back, I don't know. But I know that the many millions of student loan borrowers at minimum will get 3 years of credit. 3 years of credit. So think about, were you put on forbearance? Were you in deferment? And has your time passed? So if you're a public service worker and your loan should have been canceled at the 10-year mark, and maybe you're at the 15 or whatever, then it's going to be canceled. But they're implementing it now, and they have to put these mechanisms in place. And then once they do, it's just there won't be anything that you have to do. It's just going to start dropping off. You're going to get those notices in the mail. She got hers in the mail, or you're going to get an email saying your loan, it has a zero balance. It has been paid off. No more monies are due. Now, I was shouting with you because I already knew, but most of these student loan borrowers have no clue of what's happening. But these are things you can expect.
And with my federal, I just recently got an IDR. And it just so happened to be during the pandemic, so I haven't been making payments on it because it's on pause right now. But years before that, I was in it because I was a teacher, and I learned that I went through a third-party company. So I think that's another piece of educational things. People call you like, I can help, when we can kind of do it ourselves by going directly to those websites.
Yes.
I found out I was paying the third-party fee and not paying the fees on my loans. And student loans are a complete mess. So when you say there's no oversight, people aren't looking at it correctly, it's so many of us that fell victim to so many companies claiming to help, We've tried our best, wrecking our credit scores for years. It's been a whole mess. So I love that these are the first fresh starts. I love it. And I pray, and I'm going to keep praying that it continues and that we get some more relief.
Exactly. And more is coming. Now I do know, like under the program that I'm speaking about, the sweeping changes and the credits, right now it's not going to apply to those that are in default. But I anticipate the fresh start is the first move for those in default to be able to then get access to the income driven plans, to then they may make the determination, because if you were in default and you shouldn't have been, right, then they're saying, okay, these people were in default, they shouldn't have been, this is the reason why, and this is what we're going to do. These are the things that are happening right now that are getting us closer to student loan cancellation. Okay. And I know what you mean about like these third party. I always went directly to the Department of Education. I know I have helped quite a few of my peers to be able to get out of default and to be able to get into an income driven plan. And when I did that, like the servicers don't even tell you.
No.
So it took me telling them, right, what process to take with your servicer to get out of default, to be able to get up to current and get in one of these plans. Then it takes time. Then they drop the ball because they're not really holding themselves accountable to do what it is that the government is paying them to do as your servicer. These servicers work for the federal government to service your loans, right, properly. And the bottom line is they just have not been doing it. And so now I'm glad that they're going to be held accountable. But when you have oversight agencies like the Department of Education, they have to fulfill the oversight responsibilities as well, because they didn't hold the servicers accountable to count.
Yeah.
They didn't even tell them how to count, how to do it, how to report it, right? And then making it transparent so that everybody without question knows where you are and that you can properly track. And I think that that's so great that now they're going to be putting those mechanisms in place. Because I mean, when I log into my account, I want to be able to not just see my loan, but I want to be able to see that counter. Clicking down that tells me, okay, ma'am, we show that you have paid for the last 20 years on your student loan. And if my year to cancel is 2025, you have 5 years before your cancellation, right? 5 more years. And then, by the way, we're going to give you a credit of 3 years or however many years they're going to give you a credit. And then this is the date. That's how it should have worked. And that is how it's going to be working going forward. But again, they don't know how long it's going to take. But they're saying it's already happening for many people. But they say even maybe as early as January of 2023. We're already like in the middle of 2022. But I know, I'm excited.
With Naviance, they said for the notification, because I saw a few questions in the comments, that by the end of July, they will let whoever qualifies know by the end of July. That's why I was checking my mail.
Yes, check your mail. And I tell my audience all the time, and some of them still don't listen, you need to check your emails regularly, including your spam folder, because I know, I've been with Naviance, and these servicers, they sell your loan. Like they change servicers, right? And then the federal government stopped working with the Naviance, and now it's a new servicer, right? So, but they need to pass your information on to the next servicer. That's another thing that was not happening.
And that's one thing they said in the cry. Everyone keeps saying, what do you have to do? What did you do? The only thing they suggested to do was to make sure Naviance has your correct mailing address. Because if they don't got your email file, they're going to mail it to the last known place they know you to be. So Other than that, of just logging in, someone also asked me, well, what does it report in the website? My balance is 0.00 on the website too. And in 30 days, hopefully it drops off for my credit. But someone did ask for the link as well. So it's Naviance AG settlement.com. So think of AG as Attorney General. So Naviance AG settlement.com. That's all the list of schools, the list of states, and all the rest of the criteria for that $260 check and hopefully private loans cancellation.
Awesome. Now I'm going through some of these comments on here too. So this thing, the one was earlier on, when is the president going to cancel student? So that's what we're talking about, right? So he's already doing it. He's already done it. He's doing it. We'll continue to do it. And then he's supposed to be making soon an announcement soon on even a higher level, like student loan forgiveness. But the bulk of it, which people don't understand, and let me say this again, by making the sweeping changes is going to cause millions of student loan borrowers to get automatic forgiveness.
Yeah.
So again, this is how it works, right? So whatever is in his control in cleaning it up and saying, okay, guess what? It's in my control to say, you know what? Because they messed up, we're going to give you credits all the way back, even before you were on the income-driven plan. That means they're going to get all of those years that you should have qualified for your student loan forgiveness or cancellation and grab them, count them, and then you're just going to see the student loan drop off. It's just going to drop off. And when mine drops off, I'm going to come on here like I usually do. And I may do a video similar to yours, but definitely I'm going to show that student loan. I'm going to mark it in red. And I'm going to be doing a praise dance and a shout all over the place because I not only have all mine are federal student loans. Okay. I didn't get any private student loans. And I have loans from undergrad. And I have loans from when I started my master's program. And that was very expensive. And then on top of that, all the interest that racks up. So my issue isn't the payback because I'm on the income driven plan.
It's the interest.
It's the interest. And it's like what many have mentioned to me, even in the post that I made, is that they will never be paid off. Like, as long as it's interest, like, you will never be able to pay it off. And what the president said is that these student loans was never set up for these student loans to be a lifetime burden to you.
It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been, but it is. Mm-hmm. But it is. And again, I'm happy that they're taking the time to make these fixes. So LaJohn is asking, what about these with disability? This is a permanent disability. So you should have already received a notification by mail regarding if you are on permanent disability. But all the links are in the show notes. So if you weren't one of the ones that had it automatically forgiven, you or whoever has your power of attorney or your family, work with them to make sure that you can find out what the rules are and how to apply if you need to apply, because they made sweeping changes regarding disability. Like, all of these areas that should have been working for the benefit of the borrower.
Yeah.
You're permanently disabled and they're not working with you to get forgiveness of your student loan and making mandates on things that you cannot even do because of your disability. Yeah. Okay. So all these links are in the show notes. Just click on the one that you have interest in, or that you feel you may qualify for, and go for it. Right. But this is not for temporary disability. This is for the permanently disabled. So you have to have a documentation from your doctor that says you're permanently disabled. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, and it is a big barrier to building wealth, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's a big barrier. I mean, especially for underrepresented groups. So we definitely get that, right? You're talking to two people who definitely know, and it's
And
not just us. Many Congress advocates know that with the elimination of the student loan debt, it's just going to it's actually going to bridge the wealth gap between within the underrepresented groups, the
yeah,
minorities, the minority population, because for many of us, like it's lower income, right? So we're not, there's no equity there. On top of that, you're stacking on all this additional debt and not letting us be able to get above water. It's like we've been drowning for
we've
years
been
under
in water.
this debt.
Yeah, treading water, getting all kind of water in our mouth, just trying to take a breath. That's what.
Exactly.
And for me, thank God you don't have private loans. Right before I leave, I wanted to share real quick, like,
Sure.
me, when it comes to federal and private, I remember being pulled out of my classroom. I'm 18 years old and being told I can't stay to finish college because all of my financial aid didn't cover all my costs. And that, hey, if I'm 18, I can sign here. I'll get a private loan. I'll get a refund check for extra money. And at 18, you're like, whoa, I am an adult. I can sign this. And it's like many of us, many millennials have been punished for decisions that we made in folly in our teens, in our early 20s. And it's been haunting us for decades.
For decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
someone is asking about if you I thank you so much for coming on here, but if you need to drop off, I'm not going to be on here that much longer, but I do want to make sure I get through all of your questions. But KD, I'm just so happy that you came on here to share your story, because again, the story, your story has power, and it lets people know what's possible and what is actually happening, because so many just don't know. Right. They just know they have all these mounds of student loan debt and don't know what to do about it or what's happening. And I'm just so appreciative for your story. So do you want to just remind people where they can connect with you?
Sure, you sure can. You can connect with me on Instagram or on TikTok, especially since I'm blowing up on TikTok now, or on my website, coachkbeautiful.com. Again, you can listen to my podcast, Is Thy Queendom Come podcast, on all podcast platforms. And I also go live every third Friday with my podcast on Instagram. So feel free to follow me. You can watch my explanation videos if you need a little more in-depth on my situation. And I appreciate you so much for having me on and letting me share my story. Thank you.
You're welcome. Definitely go follow her. She said she has such a beautiful spirit, and she's doing such amazing work. So go follow her, especially on TikTok. Go give her TikTok video a like and show her some love. Give it another share so it continues to explode virally for her. And I'm hopeful that it will also has a positive impact on your business because of the amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you later.
You too. Okay, so what about if it's in collections? Okay, so does that mean that if it's in collections, you're in default, right? So it just depends on the program of what is going to take place with regards to your collections. One of the things that you can do, I mentioned before, is that how I was able to help some student loan borrowers that they were in collections, right? That means you defaulted on your student loans. They wrote it off and they put you in collections. So you have a collections agency. So what you want to do is reach out to them, ask them how to get out of collections, how to get your loan out of collections so that you can get on a income driven plan, right? Or not just get out of collections, but how what do you need to do because you would like to get on an income driven plan? Start there. Start there with your service or your collection person. And they switch all the time. So make sure you know who your collection agency is, know who your loan servicer is. Get connected with the Department of Education's website because there's a lot of helpful information there. You don't have to seek out third-party assistance to apply for these programs. I mean, I applied directly through the Department of Education's website. I see all of you out. So I'm claiming student loan cancellation for all of you guys that are out there. So I'm a student loan borrower, don't know how to get, well, you should know how to get it now. So just stay tuned. Student loans are being canceled. Again, some of the ways that you can do it is the filing a defense claim if your school again was involved in any misconduct or violation of state laws. You can go to studentaid.gov/borrower-defense. If you are worked in public service, you're a public service worker. I have many peers that are. They're working in public service or did or doing it now and working and have a business on the side. It really doesn't matter. Public service workers, like if you work for a nonprofit, police department, even some that work in like urban schools, there's so many ways that you can, if you're working in public service, be able to get forgiveness at 10 years. At 10 years. So again, you can go to same place, studentaid.gov. The link is in the show notes. And just go to your area, right? So student loan or studentaid.gov manage-loans/forgiveness -cancellation/public service. And then we talked about the Naviance settlement. So 66,000 of you all with private loans will get that automatically forgiven. Federal student loan borrowers can expect a payout that is lower, but we expect some more information on that. We will drop that in the comments as well. Just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything here. Reminder of the fresh start. So all of you all that are in default, you're going to see your loans come out of default status. Is going to be removed from your credit report. Your credit score is going to go up. This is going to give you an opportunity to get into an income driven plan for your student loans. And then that again, if you're not on an income driven plan, whether you're in default or not, right? If you're not on an income driven plan, consider getting on an income driven plan. Same website, studentaid.gov, and just go through the different plans that are available and see which one is going to be best fit for your situation. Again, I've been on, I don't even know at this point. That's why it would be helpful to have my counts, because I've been on this income driven plan for a long time now. Yes, claim it. I love it. Naviance student loans forgiven. So we have a Bennett. I got a settlement amount, but no forgiveness for the debt yet. Was that for the Navient or other settlements? Because there's been other settlements as well. Someone else is saying that they sold her account to another lender. That doesn't matter. Just know, again, keep up to date. Know who's been, if your servicer has been changed, if your lenders have been changed, just you make sure that you're keeping up with that and keeping in communication. Like Kadeen mentioned as well, I would say everyone make sure that you update your addresses across the board with whoever you're working with, even on studentaid.gov. Make sure they have your most updated information so that you don't miss out. But I know Navient, not just Navient, but my student loan servicers, I also have it set up where they send me correspondence via email. So if you need to do that, I'll highly recommend it. So that way you don't have to wait for the mail, but you do need to check your emails that come through. Is there any pandemic programs that would help with credit card debt? Check your state. There's not a federal program. How is Ultimate? I don't know about Ultimate Medical. You have to give me more information. I've been in a nonprofit 14 years. Basically, my loan should have been forgiven. Yeah, if you work for a nonprofit, yeah, it should have been. So I would look into that. You may be in the count that already has forgiveness. I don't know if you got received correspondence, but definitely reach out. I would say today, if it is Monday, so reach out to them, who is ever over the program. Go to the link for public service forgiveness. Start there. Go to the link for public service forgiveness. Start there, so you can get your forgiveness. Yeah, you should have been done. As a teacher, okay, so Nicole has been trying to get her student loan forgiven since Clinton was in office. As a teacher working in the district, qualified for forgiveness, I was given the runaround each time I send the Department of Education certified paperwork. Ma'am, yours may be automatically forgiven, but I would go to the public service worker link. But yours may be automatically forgiven. But start there. Jimmy Diva, she said it was 25 pages long. I'm finishing up my application today. Which application? Can you let me know if you're still watching? Which application? I don't know if it's public service worker or defense claim. Hello? Yes, let's get these. Let's get them forgiven. Okay, so Rashonda, hi, shout out to Rashonda. She's on an IDR as well. I see a lot of defaulters. Congratulations, because you get a fresh start. That's the first step. I see some more public service workers. How can I get mine forgiven? So I've mentioned how to get it forgiven. So let's go do it. If you have made 25 years worth of payment, forgiveness is automatic. Yes, it's supposed to be, but there's people that have reached their 20 or 25 years and it hasn't been automatic, right? It's supposed to be, but it hasn't because they haven't been counting. That's the problem. So now that they're counting, those that met the requirement of 20 years and 25 years can expect to see forgiveness and cancellation in the upcoming months. It could be days, I don't know, but let's make it conservative, months. Let me see. So 9 years on the IDR plans. What if your federal student loans were that doesn't matter. So if it doesn't matter who your loans were sold to. If they're federal loans, they're federal loans. It works the same. Now they're still doing some work. I know I read a story the other day about issues with couples that were forced into consolidating their loans, which made them ineligible for forgiveness and these programs that they would have been entitled to, but because they were forced into these consolidations, there's issues. So I'm hopeful that those people in that situation, that will be rectified under the new changes or forthcoming changes. Let me see. So let me just speak on this really quickly. So there are some people in the comments saying, we elected them and we haven't received anything. Okay, you have received things, right? So it's like if you don't get everything in the world, they act like you didn't get anything. But you have to appreciate what you have been given. That's in any situation. I don't care who is the president or what the situation is. If you appreciate what you have, you will get more, right? So understand, like when people say we haven't received anything, we have received things, right? We have received stimulus programs. Did everybody get everything that they wanted? No, not necessarily. But businesses and did people get relief, tons of relief? Yes. The fact that student loans, no matter where you are with them, have stopped, you've stopped having to pay. So say you were paying $800 a month. Now that $800 has been freed up for you, right? No collections, no interest on these student loans going almost 3 years, because it's going to be ending at the end of August. Okay. And then they may extend it, or they're extending it until they can figure out the cancellation, what they're going to do with that. So recognize the benefits that you have given. Nobody gets everything that they want, right? And if it does, it's like if it doesn't happen like right now, then it didn't happen. But understand things are happening. Appreciate what's happening. It's a process. Things come in phases, and then take advantage of the opportunities along the way. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I mean, I know I'm happy that these changes are happening, because they should have been happening. And the fact that I'm going to now be eligible to have my student loans forgiven, they're actually going to be counting and giving me a credit. I'm so excited about it. Whether it comes today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, I'm going to be excited about it. So someone else is saying, if you receive the Naviance Attorney General settlement, eligible to receive $500 settlement, are you eligible for loan forgiveness? Yeah, loan forgiveness is separate from the Naviance settlement. The Naviance settlement is what it is. So what I would determine is what type of student loan that you have. So if it's federal, then your federal student loan that you're paying on, or that's there, would be eligible for these different programs and potential forgiveness, depending on where you are in the, are you in default, getting the fresh start to get into the income driven plan, or are you in the income driven plan, or are you just paying and then getting into the income driven plan to then count towards forgiveness? So who's the new survey? You can Google that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But all of this stuff is public record regarding the Naviance settlement. You can Google that. Yes, people have saved thousands of dollars. I mean, billions of dollars. And when you calculate the millions of people on student that have student loans that haven't had to pay, right? So again, it's making your money work for you. That money that you no longer are paying, are you making that money work for you? Yes or no? Let me see. I'm just seeing if there's any question. What if you graduated from ITT Tech around that time? I would look into I would look into the information on ITT Tech. I know that they've already made, automatically forgiven a lot. I don't know if you need to go through the defense claim. Go through the studentaid.gov, the defense claim section, and if yours wasn't forgiven, file a defense claim. So someone else is saying that they attended a school that lost accreditation. Go to defense claim. I don't know, because it depends on the school. It depends on what they define as misconduct and violation of state laws. I don't know that necessarily it losing its accreditation would fit that. There's a lot of questions out here. I'm just trying to make sure I get to them all, and I'll follow up after. When I check my credit score, it says my student loans are closed, but I just received a notice from the company that took over Naviance stating I'm going back into repayment soon. I can't tell you if that's right. What I would do is, if you received a notification from that new servicer, then give them a call. Okay. Let me see. What about school that doesn't allow graduation to student after finishing up all requirements? I don't know. Again, look into the defense claims. What school does not allow graduation students to graduate? I don't know. That's weird that they don't. You attend a school that doesn't. Why aren't they letting you graduate? What if you didn't receive a settlement letter due to the Naviance lawsuit? Again, this impacted 66,000 students. And again, check to see if your address is correct. Check and see if they sent you an email. Log into your loan, into your and see what's happening. Maybe you missed it, or it could be that you were not included in the 66,000. Again, it's for is specific requirements and specific time periods of loans that were impacted by the Naviance lawsuit. And I don't know which one your falls into, so that means that you should do a little research on that. Okay, so how to check if your student, if you were misled by your college or school, go to the defense claim link in the description. Yeah, please do. Again, tell your friends, your peers, your family members, tag them here in this video, share this with them so they know that what's happening. They can be on the lookout and they can take necessary steps with regards to their student loan. Like they can get relief, but everybody is getting relief right now. But no, it's anticipated that at the end of August is coming to a close. That, guess what? That means if they do not extend it, then it goes back the way it was, right? So you have to start paying again. So take the time now to go through the information to see what you qualify for and what's happening with regarding your loan, and then stay on top of it. And as more information becomes available, we will let you know. Because what I said was we're still waiting for Biden to make an official announcement, even outside of these sweeping changes. So I'm anticipating that to be, it could be a few days, a few weeks, next month, but I'm constantly monitoring that. Yeah, all the red tape, removing all the red tape. I mean, they make it so difficult. Can your student loans from 2018 be forgiven? It depends on the program. So again, if you're just coming in late, make sure you go back to the beginning. You definitely want to catch Kay Dean's testimony and how she got her student loans over 27,000 canceled. I mean, it's just amazing. And all of these different programs, take advantage of the programs. Stay tuned with what's happening with the sweeping changes. You should expect to get some notifications. As I receive notifications, I will let you all know. As I get mine canceled, I will also let you all know as well. I hope this has been helpful to you. I try to get as much information I can at all, give all the information, but I think I provided the information that was important so you all know what is happening, that there are initiatives already underway. Loans have already been canceled. More loans are going to be canceled going forward. And I'm hopeful that many of you all that are watching today, that will apply to your particular student loan. But as I always say, please make sure that you are being proactive with your own student loan. Don't wait for other people. Be proactive, right? Use your voice, use your power as a student loan borrower. Make sure you're doing the necessary follow-ups that you need to be doing. Don't ignore your loans. There's things that you can do. All the information, and it's free, right? So you don't have to pay anybody, right? You don't. So just be mindful of that. Do your due diligence. Bookmark the studentaid.gov website. That is your go-to place for all things student loans. Okay, so let's get this student loan forgiveness cancellations under the way. As yours get forgiven, feel free to send us a message, send us an email, letting us know, and we will celebrate and congratulate you. Thank you for tuning in. As always, continue to be the boss with Amplified Impact. Stay safe and in good health. Have a great day.